Okay, guys, so this week we're going to talk about life in space and what the essentials are for you to be able to live in space. The essentials of life support in space, of course, are air because we know that it's not like Earth. We know that the oxygen that we need is not up there. So we need a constant control of oxygen. We also need a constant temperature control too. Water, we know, is needed up there, food, and waste management. So getting there, we used to use space shuttles to get into space. Now we're looking at rockets and getting in space, and that's why you hear a lot of SpaceX stuff because they're doing those engines for the rockets. So we know that that's the next way that NASA is going to be going. Right now, though, NASA is not running any kind of flights. All of our flights are coming out of Russia. So anytime that we're sending anybody to the space station, we are sending them to Russia to go up. The spacesuit. Now, if you're at the International Space Station, you don't need a spacesuit. They only use those for when they're going outside to work on modules or anything like that. They have to have it for protection, and they have to have it for being able to breathe. So it's very important when they're doing stuff outside. And you can see through the ages how the suit has changed. And here's a little bit about why I'm wearing the spacesuit. So have you ever wondered about how we get food and clothes and bath and toiletries and sleep and exercise and cleaning? And what happens if there's sickness up there? And what do they do for entertainment? Well, the food that they have, it used to be freeze dried, so they didn't have very much variety in foods. But now it's either frozen or refrigerated or thermostabilized, which doesn't require any addition of water before consumption. And a lot of their menus, they have things like what we have on Earth, coffee and bacon squares and cornflakes and scrambled eggs. It may not look like it does on Earth, but it tastes the same pretty much. Eating and drinking is hard because you've got to remember that there's no gravity in space. And you don't want things flying around like breadcrumbs or anything like that. So instead of eating bread up there, they eat like tortillas because they don't have crumbs that fall off of them. How do they keep clean up there? Well, they don't have showers like we do here. They actually wash off with washcloths and water and soap because you don't want anything flying around because of gravity. You don't want water or anything like that loose in the space station. So you can get haircuts up there. You just got to make sure that you don't let it fly around. Brushing your hair for guys probably is not going to be as hard as for women that have longer hair. Brushing your teeth, instead of spitting out the toothpaste when we get through, they have to swallow it. And it doesn't hurt them, thank goodness. Sleeping in space, that one's a little bit tricky because of gravity. You really can't tell if you're upright, sideways, upside down. So they have sleeping modules that are on the floor, on the walls, up above, and they have sleeping bags that are strapped to the wall or to the floor, and then they have to zip themselves up in it. And that's how they sleep because they can't tell if they're up, down, or sideways. Okay, when it's time to rise and shine, mission control wakes them up in the morning. Now, if there's illness or injury during space flight, you have people that are trained to deal with that up there. Exercise is very essential. You don't want to lose your bone mass or muscle mass up there because with no gravity, your bones and your muscles want to not work properly. And when they come back to the earth, a lot of times they have a hard time. They can't walk really well because they're not used to it. So they have to make sure that they exercise while they're up there. So I hope this helps you out about what all we need to be able to live in space.